Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gaming Daddy channel. So today we're still on the topic of Tom Clancy's The Division going into title update 11 and talking about a few fixes, a few improvements that I genuinely think will make this game better for the players that are still playing it. Now, first of all, I want to clear something. I think a lot of people are thinking that The Division is going to be a game that's going to go out there and bring a whole bunch of the old player base or get a bunch of new player, counts to, show up in the game. But I don't think that's the case. I think right now the game is at a place where it needs to continue to cater to its hardcore audience and its new audience that comes in from time to time when the game goes on sale or when there are promotions or they get the game at a discount, or they've probably had the game in their library and haven't touched it for a while and are finally coming back into the game. Because believe it or not, there are people who are just discovering the Division 2 as we speak. If you want evidence, you can go on my videos. You can go on my, just my last few videos for the last few days. You're going to see comments from a lot of new players, even on my posts on my channel. It's interesting to see that, some people are quite new to the franchise. And I think this is another really interesting thing, that this game, as crazy as it's gone through its life cycle so far, will continue to need to cater to those audiences as well. Which brings me to the reason why I'm making this video, and that's because of the loot quality as we speak. And this is a loot quality before title update 11. Because title update 11 is supposed to be one of these patches that not only is it going to bring a new game mode, it's one of those patches that's being touted to fix the loot problem. But to be very honest, these developers, their so-called attempts to fix the loot problem needs to actually be much more exposed than it has in the past. So think about the words fix the loot. Three words that we've been hearing since 2016. I think it's obvious that they still want some kind of a climb for you to be able to attain the very best possible loot in the game. But at the same time, right now we've reached the point where they've actually created the most difficult level of content, providing the most difficult enemy AI or enemy NPCs. So I feel like if you look at the peak of difficulty, the hardest content that you can do in this game, or the hardest enemy AI you can encounter, are bosses in legendary mode, which then leads me to believe that the best way to actually reward players that take down these bosses is to give them the best possible loot in the game. And it's a very simple fix. Whenever you take down a legendary boss, you ought to get guaranteed max rolled items. Now, I'm not saying you ought to get a guaranteed exotic. This is going to be a whole different conversation. No, exotics ought to at least have some level of the grind that goes into them. But because of the diversity of loot, the diversity of talents, diversity of attributes that we now have in the game, with new gear sets and new brand sets being added from time to time, I think it's safe to say if somebody runs a legendary mission for 45 minutes and they take out the boss at the final part of the mission, then that boss should drop a whole, tray of max rolled items, be it mods, be it weapons, be it gear sets. They all need to be at the highest level and the highest quality that's given to that player. I think this is going to allow for more people to start dabbling into the content. I think it's going to allow for more people who may want to get to the point where they min-max their build through a known route, get into legendary modes much more. If you think about it, I've been playing legendaries the past few days, been playing on streams with a lot of guys. And, in a team of 4, when the boss is taken down, he basically drops nothing that's useful. Now, even if the items may not necessarily fit into builds or, fit into build ideas, at least they need to have respectable roles that makes it look and, makes it feel that you have just defeated one of the more difficult bosses in the game. Because The Division is not only an RPG looter shooter, it's a game that thrives on the loot and reward system. So you're going into the game, taking a very difficult task at heart, and you want a reward for it. And I think if this one fix is made, it's really going to lend more credibility to legendary content as we're going forward. And not only am I making this video regarding just legendary missions, we're talking about the potential of having this so-called summit skyscraper mode, have legendary bosses as well through the legendary floors. This is like from floor 80 all the way through the top, and you're going to have the opportunity of meeting multiple bosses that are legendary. I think when people meet these bosses, or when people have to take on them, they also require that they have some of the best loot drops, at least. Even if they're not going to drop the bighorn for you just yet, they have to at least be able to reward you handsomely so that you can come back and deal with this again. And even further down the road, and these are discussions that we've been having, with the community, talking about potentially more legendary modes coming to the game, because right now, if you notice, we have 2 strongholds that have not received legendary modifications or legendary modes added to them, and that's Tidal Basin and Manning National Zoo. I believe strongly that the developers had mentioned, that they had plans to do this. I cannot necessarily remember when, but it was something that was basically talked about. Maybe it was us, the community, that was talking about it, and the developer said maybe that's a potential thing that might happen. But I think it's worth their time doing, and if they were to go ahead to do it, it provides more of an avenue, provides more options for players to be able to seek these loot items out in the best possible form that they can be, and also have, varying content to be able to, play for these items. And so I'm just, kind of at a spot where it's like, we've matured in the community where that grind, we've already attained and achieved a huge portion of it. And I really do think that the developers will serve its community well to start providing these opportunities, because, yes, a lot of the pretty and shiny feelings and mindsets around the game have already faded away. So now that you have, new players, I genuinely believe that one of the best ways to start to cater to that audience, and even your hardcore audience, is provide the pathway for them to be able to attain the very best items in the game, and most likely max out their builds and all of that stuff. Now, not to say that the current level of max rolled items being given are not good enough or not sufficient. I'm just saying that at the end of a mission, or at the end of dealing with the hardest bosses in the game, you ought to at least see some kind of that item, or at least a certain percentage of them. There are about 6 or 7 items that drop from a boss. What if 50% or 45% of these items, were max rolled versus the others? And so that's kind of something that really, I think will lend a lot of replayability and reward, achieving, or achievements, however you want to put it, to players who are actually playing the game. So this is my video. This is just one of those constructive feedbacks that, on playing the game and seeing where they want to take the game, seeing where they want to take the new loot, seeing that they want to do away with a lot of the rainbow items. I'm not saying they want to do a rainbow loot entirely. I do remember seeing some rainbow items on the PTS for Title Update 11, and this was even in the Summit mode, and I was like, I thought they said they were doing away with this, but they're changing the percentages to make it a lower instance for you to get these rainbow loot items. But at the end of the day, yes, you're probably going to see them based on the math, but we need to be able to have that level of confidence that when we're going to play the hardest content, even if we're going to be seeing some possible rainbow loot items, they at least need to be the best items that you can get, because you're dealing with the hardest content and component in the game that challenges players. All right, that's pretty much it for me. I'll get out of your hair. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section, and I don't want to hear any more the division is dead. The game is still going on for those who are willing to play it. We all know this, but I know we love to troll, but this is kind of a one of those forums that it makes sense that we give constructive feedback for those of us who are still playing, and for those of us who know that there are more people that are coming to the game and would enjoy and benefit from these new aspects that we're proposing. So like I said, let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Hopefully we'll see you in another video, and I'm going to bounce. Peace out.